Going since 4 a.m. So if I lose it or I lose my spot, it may be a test, or it may be that I just truly don't remember what I was talking about. You're I'm going to test you to see if you're paying attention. All right? All right, very good. Restroom's right through here. The taco guy's going to set up over here. And what I'll do is once he gets here, I may just break for 5 or 10 minutes, let you guys get up and get your food, and then we'll get started again. But we'll see. We'll kind of play it by ear.
Anybody that hasn't had a chance to sign in yet?
Okay, so just so everybody knows, I think I've introduced everybody that I need to that I recognize. Normally my partners, Kurt and Rob, and they will be here in a bit. They'll probably do the PowerPoint part of this presentation we can get to shortly. If not, I'll do it. It's no problem. They'll be here. I'll introduce them when they walk in. Our Sergeant Ron Miranda, he actually has been here all week. He's actually worked like 45, 50 hours, and so he's going home to his family. He won't be here tonight. And then usually our captain, Christine, comes in. He'll say a few words, but I know there are a lot of graduations and things going on, so he normally shows up and he's very supportive and thanks all of you for your support, and we'll talk about your support and what you do for us in just a little bit. And then lastly, we have our city folks, we have city council members, none of which are here tonight, but I will tell you, we've been doing this, we changed the program around about 1.5 years ago, and I think just about every single meeting we've had a council member show up. And tonight I would imagine you'll probably see Fernando, and you'll probably see Tom Chavez and Jane, his wife, because they're council members and they love the tacos. You know, I mean, they come in here to say hi to everybody, but they're not fooling anybody, all right? Just so we're clear. They're not fooling anybody. They're here for the food, okay? And I always call them on when they're here, so I'm not saying anything that, is going to be a surprise to them. But if we get a council member walk in, I'll let you know. We have a great council. They're very supportive. I've been on this team for about 12.5 years now. I've been working in the city before that for several years. And I was here when we had council members that did not get along. There was a lot of infighting going on, a number of issues that were going on, and nothing really was going on within the city, right? We didn't have a lot of changes. Well, we have a lot of changes. Whether you agree with them or not, they are changes. There are a lot of good changes, and I will tell you, from knowing on the inside what's going on, there are a lot of good changes. A lot of people have a lot of questions about those, and if you ask those tonight, no problem. We'll get to those at some point. And if we run out of time, you can always email me. We'll talk about that in a second. So I think that's it on the introductions. Brian's here from the city, and Freddie, I don't see him right now. Hey, that's okay. Lastly, before we get started, all the kids, there's a room right outside, right out here. Freddie's there, one of our city employees. Great guy, you can trust him. And the kids can go in there. They've got children coming with the DVD. I don't know what the movie's going to be. It's just for the kids, the little kids. All right? I'm sorry if it's one of your favorite cartoons or what have you, but if you're an adult, we really want you to stay and hear this, okay? And kids are welcome to stay in here as well, okay? And one other item, do we have anybody that needs translation? Mandarin, Chinese, or anything like that?
I made an announcement.
You made an announcement?
在讲我是那个志工，我是做翻译的，若是有什么需要的话，就可以到这边来找我，因为我刚刚想要提供大家做一做，就是因为作为一个合作伙伴，所以有什么需要就跟我讲。
Okay, so feel free to ask questions as we go if you want. If you want to wait, that's fine. And we're going to go, we're good? He's here? Okay, so our taco guy's here, so thank God for that, huh? We'd have a lot of pissed off people if he wasn't here tonight, I would think, right? How many people really came for the food? Be honest. Okay, good, okay. So that's good, yeah. And there's a lot of others that do the same thing, but they're not man enough or woman enough to admit it. Shame on you. All right? But that's right. That's all good. You're just trying to be polite. All right, let me talk briefly about some of the things we do as a team. All right? We handle a number of things. Neighborhood watch, which is what this is, but we broke it down to area watch, and I'll explain that in a minute. We do presentations for schools, kids, youth, adults on various topics. I won't bore you with all those topics. We attend tons and tons of meetings. We sit on collaborative boards. We work closely with the schools. We write search warrants. We execute search warrants. We help out with investigations. We go out in the field and do saturation looking for bad guys. We do probation compliance checks, parole compliance checks. Mainly my big thing, the area watch and quality of life issues. Okay? Since we started this program, the quality of life issues really have come to me a lot more than your patrol deputies. And the reason that is because one, I care more than they do, to be honest with you, at least more than most of them do. Because you've got to remember the mindset of a patrol deputy that comes to your house when you call him because you've got a problem with your neighbor or somebody broke into your house or your car. They want to get in, they want to get that information from you right away, right? And then they want to get the heck out because they have other calls that they need to handle. Look, the reality too is some of your deputies aren't always as mature as they should be. Just like lawyers, doctors, teachers, and every single one of you in here. True? Because I'm not that mature sometimes either. Right? If we're honest with ourselves, we can say that. Okay? So that's part of it. Okay? But for the most part, by and large, your deputies do care about you, and they do care about the job they do. And we know that the deputies working in your city do. And you have a great city. I grew up in this city. You have a really good city. And we'll talk about that as we go. Okay, so I'm going to explain the handout that I gave you real quick. I'm going to go over some crime trends. And then I think by the time we get all that, go through all that, we should be pretty good where Miguel should be set up. We'll take about a 10-minute break, let you get your food, and then you'll probably still be getting food, but we'll talk as we go. We're going to make it work. The first sheet in your handout, all you need to know is my contact information. That's the most important because if you've got a problem, no matter what it is, some of you tonight might say, hey Rick, this is a problem I have. What can I do about it? And I'm going to tell you, email me or call me. But if you have email, I want you to email me because when you email me, I can send that to patrol deputies, let them know what I need to do very easily, and I'm extremely busy. And that way I get back to you quicker, and I can print it up, take it with me, and do my follow-up, and I can take notes on it as well. Much easier. The folks that don't have email, not a problem, just call me and we'll take care of it. I've always been extremely I'll keep it clean, good about getting back to everybody that calls me. But the reality is, we're so freaking busy that it might take a while, but I always get back to everybody, okay? It may not be as fast as you like, but we always deal with the problems, and we're usually pretty successful, probably about 95% of the time, honestly, okay? My contact information, Brian Arizumi, city guy. Here he is, Brian, raise your hand. So if you've got a city matter about a city ordinance or a city issue, email Brian or call him. And emailing is probably the best way to get a hold of him. And he will get a response back to you. Now he's busy, so if he doesn't get back to you, email me or just CC me when you send it to him, and I'll make sure I follow through with Brian to get it done. Okay? Brian and I have been working together for years, and we have a great rapport. And so he may not get back to you as soon as he can, but if you've been waiting a while and I see that, I'll call him. Brian, we got to take care of this, and he'll do it. Okay? And he just does that because he's a good guy, not because he's scared of me. Because I don't have any authority over him or anything at all. All right, and then Kirk and Rob, my two partners, and then Ron Miranda. And my two partners should be here shortly. The next page, just note-taking material. What will happen is, some of you might have questions that you don't get answered. Some of you might have neighbors that you might want to complain about that might be here. Or, when you talk, you're going to be on camera. If they're watching, they're going to find out about it, right? So we really don't want to, we don't really want to upset the neighbors, right? And we really don't want, and anytime you contact us about a problem, you're anonymous. They're not going to know who contacted them. However, you got to know there are situations where if someone calls and someone calls and they had a problem with somebody, when we go talk to that person, they may very well know where it came from. But in a lot of the cases, that's not necessarily the case, and we certainly don't offer up that information, even if they ask. They may guess, but we don't give them that information. Okay? Just so you know. So if you've got a question we don't get to, you have a comment, or anything you want to tell me, write it down and tear this page out and leave your email address on this, even though you might have left it on the page over. Leave it on this, and I will get back to you with a response. Any questions so far? Everybody okay even though it's hot? I guarantee you I'm a lot hotter than you are. I'm more tired. And if I go man down, I'd prefer a woman to give me mouth to mouth. I mean, not that or a woman. All right? Yeah, I got a volunteer. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Most of the time people don't volunteer, so thank you. Okay, so the next page, this is a new map of the city. It's the same city, okay? But what happened was, how many were here 14 months ago to the day when we did this meeting like over a year ago? Show of hands. Okay, so several of you. Okay, several of you, but many that have not been here, which is great. The old Neighborhood Watch program, you try to do block meetings, and maybe you got 2 or 3 people, maybe you got 8 or 10 or 12, which would be great, but it wasn't working, okay? People are busy. Women are out there in the workforce more today than they were back 15, 20 years ago. We don't know our neighbors like we used to. I grew up in Temple City. I know it's changed. We all know it's changed. And there's nothing wrong with that. Change is good. Change is great, actually. Okay? But the reality is, sometimes we have to change the way we do things. So what we did was we revamped the program completely. And we actually met with city council members, city members, and the guys on our team. And we said, what can we do to enhance the program, make it better? Get people out here, get people more involved. Well, what do you think was the first thing we talked about?
Food.
Anybody guess?
Food.
Food. Yeah, nobody really cares about the other stuff that much. They do, I'm teasing. But no, we figured we have to entice you in a way to bring you out here and get you involved. So the city's picking up the tab tonight for the food. Food's a great way to do it. We know families out there have child care issues. That's why we have someone from the city who sets you up and you get a free meal as parents. Trust me, my kids were little at one point. Any breakaway for my kids is a blessing. So, sorry, it's the truth. And I think your parents will probably tell you that, so you know. Okay? True? Or not? Yeah, you love them. My kids always complain, Dad, how come you're going with us? Because I need to get away from you for a while. You know, I love you, but, you know, I need a break. Right? And you guys need a break from Mom and Dad every once in a while. True? You can say, you're not going to get in trouble. Tell them, Mom, Dad, I need a break every once in a while. All right? All right. We have child care. It's right outside here. Freddie's going to meet you out there and take your kids back there and promise to bring them back in the same condition we got. Okay?
He's ready.
He's ready. So yeah, if your kids want to go back, you can get up and we have time. We'll get up and go. Food's ready too? Okay, let me just go through the packet and we'll do some food and then we'll take a break and I promise we'll get you out by 7:30. Okay, so we changed the program, broke it into 12 areas. The problem is, initially we thought we'd do 1 a month for every month of the year. But once we divided everything up and we started the program rolling, we realized, well shoot, we can't really do it in November and December because of the holidays. It's too hard, there's too many things going on, and we wouldn't get the people involved. So we do it every 14 months, you'll have a meeting for your area. If you miss that meeting, you can go to another area meeting, you get basically the same information. Thought we'd change the format. So the first year we had a whole bunch of stuff we threw out there for you. This year, we're just keeping it simple, even though I mean not selling it simple, it really is. We have, Martin, how many contacts now? Email contacts.
Well, we're signed up tonight, 917.
So we have 917 people, families within the city that get emails on a weekly basis from either Brian or myself, and I'll explain that in a second. And then we're also, at some point, we want to improve the program to actually have other emails going out to email blast from my office, okay? But the reality is, I have so many things going on. I need help, and Martin and Lucy are huge as far as helping me, and so are Marty and many others. And just so you know, they step up and actually help out when we meet once a month, and they give us new ideas. So we're always looking at ways of changing the program, right? We want to keep things moving. We want to keep it current. We want to make it interesting. And your area leaders, about 10 or 12 of them, are the ones that came up with the format for tonight to change things up. We figured, let's give them a vote. And so also, too, we have new neighborhood watch signs coming out that are completely different than the old ones. And our area leaders actually voted and came up with the idea of the 4 ideas that we were looking at. You know, they actually voted on the one they liked. So if you want to have a voice, get a hold of Martin or get a hold of Lucy or Marty over here and let them know. The next page, this is your area. Area 11. Our major crimes, and we're going to talk about them tonight, are burglaries, residential, and vehicle. We have other stuff that goes on, but those are our major problems. Okay? It looks like, and I haven't even seen this, in the last 6 months, from January through May, or 5 months, you had 1 vehicle burglary and 2 residential, which is not bad in a 6-month period. Look, we'd love to have none, but the reality is, and we're going to talk about why, you're going to get them, you're going to have more activity. We're going to tell you what to look out for. Okay? The next 4 pages, this is the weekly crime blotter we send out to everybody. Every week, we prepare this and get it out to you, and it tells you most of the crimes that are occurring within the city. Not your area, but the city as a whole. All right? We do it in English and in Chinese, because we want to reach everybody. The next page, basically, yeah. Yeah. The question is, do we have analysis on the crimes that are occurring in each area? We do, and this is why we can go back and track those areas. What those statistics are going back here, we haven't gotten to that point where we can do that on a regular basis. At some point, if you shoot me an email, we may evolve where we can actually do that, where now we actually are shooting out on a monthly basis or every 6 months which crimes are occurring in your area. And we can break it down to other crimes too, not just your residential burglaries and your vehicle burglaries. It could be robberies, which we don't have very many of, shootings, which we actually had 3 of recently. We'll talk about that, and those types of things. Okay?
So from your recollection,
Yes.
Do you know what area has the most home and vehicle type?
Burglaries? Yeah. From my recollection, I can barely remember what I did yesterday. So the truth is, no, I can tell you this. I can tell you this. We have a really good city. We handle South Ammonte, Doherty, Rosemead, Temple City, and all the county areas that have all been, and I've been at the station 15 years, and I've been in patrol for 18. We have the best city in our station area, and our crime is down. And compared to other cities, we don't have nearly the crime that Rosemead, South Ammonte, Doherty, and the county areas do. And part of the reason is because of people like you. But those numbers, if you're interested in that, email me. I'll get a hold of our crime analyst, and we'll find out and let you know. But there's no way, there's so many things that we have going on, there's no way. And we'd like to evolve. If you email them, we'll talk about that with our area leaders and say, hey, what do we need to do to get that information out to everybody? And that way everybody can get it out monthly or every 6 months or what have you. Yeah, hey guys, just so you know, if the kids want to watch a movie, we have a movie going on there, and the taco guy's set up, but we're going to wait 2 minutes to go out there and get some tacos. All right? What time is it? We know what time it is.
6 o'clock.
6. Oh, good. We're doing great. Okay, I'm way ahead of schedule, so we're fine. Marty?
Before you put a lot of resources into generating data,
Yeah.
I think you can seriously ask, what are people going to do when they get it?
True.
I don't know what I would do knowing different area crime rates and.
Right.
So.
We do. That's a good point. Look, are we going to do, we'll have to look at that. Is it going to be worth the time that we're putting in just for a few people, and is it going to make a difference? I will tell you, when we do get crime trends, where we have burglaries going on, a lot of burglaries, we'll have our analysts step in and we map it out so we know. Because a lot of times it could be somebody who lives in the area who was recently released on parole or probation, and now they're out capering, they're breaking into homes again, or breaking into cars. A lot of our crimes, 75% of our crimes that occur, I will tell you, occur from people coming in from other areas or traveling through that actually break into our cars and our homes. And now I can tell you by looking at the crime blotter every week. Do you get that yet or no?
Yeah.
The crime blotter? No? You do weekly?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you follow that, you'll see that. But I can tell you honestly, about 75% of our crimes that occur are crimes that are occurring from people coming through our city, or coming to our city to rip us off and then leave.
I was just wondering, if people who live close to El Monte, do we get crime from the El Monte area?
You know, you would think that would be the case, but no. And I can tell you for sure that you'll have crime in your areas like everybody else, but we don't, honestly, looking at the numbers that I've looked at over the years, we don't have a large difference in the amount of crimes that occur in any of the areas. That I can tell you for sure. You would think, being that you're close to El Monte, you would get that, but for whatever reason, maybe it's too close to home for them. You know, maybe we have more people looking out, maybe they come in, they get scared, maybe they go deeper into the city. It doesn't necessarily happen. That is part of the problem sometimes, but not necessarily the case.
Is northern Temple City better than the southern Temple City?
Personally, I think you're better off on the north end. But I just think that because you're not bordered by El Monte, you are better off. I think, this is just my personal opinion. This is just me talking as a human being, not as a deputy. But I think north of Las Tunas, I think you're better off. I think the homes are kept up a little bit more. I think people have more of an interest. And now you're bordering San Gabriel, the county area, right? And then you have Arcadia, which is a pretty decent city. So yeah, I think, you know, just like any other areas, you have areas that are better than you know, in one city that are better than others. So, sir.
Hello, officer.
Hi. You don't have to stay unless you want to.
My question is how does the city of Temple City feel about scattering?
Oh, the recycling? Recycling? Yeah, when they go in, we don't tolerate it. So if you've got a problem, because I'm sure it's an issue, and it's been an ongoing issue, and Brian will tell you, and all Freddie and Rommel, they'll tell you as well. We go out there when we can, and we do enforce. And as a matter of fact, just about 3 weeks ago, we had an 80-year-old guy. We took a picture of him. He had cans everywhere on his bike, and he's pretending he doesn't speak any English. He lies to us about his name and his birthday, right? Imagine that. But the guy's not a crook. Just scared, doesn't want to get caught, and wants to continue stealing. And the reason we don't allow it is because Athens, who actually has contract with the city, that takes money away from them. Yeah, and plus, it's a quality of...
Takes money from Athens, and actually, the city gets credit for diversion, and there's certain components of it, and if they're stealing the recyclable cans, it's actually a misdemeanor violation, and so it's something that we look down upon, and if you see it, like Rick said, I'm out there, my guys are out there, the sheriff's department out there, we cite it, and we've actually taken a few of them to jail for that violation. So.
Shoot me an email if you've got a problem, the day and the approximate time, and give me the best description you can, and we'll go out there and enforce it. I want to hold off on your question. I'll come back in just a second, and for everybody else. I want to get through this, and then I want to get people maybe a little bit at a time they can go out and eat, just so you guys can eat, okay? And I'll get right back to you. Okay, I promise. The next sheet on the pamphlet, or in the handout, basically, it's a home, which is you, and it shows you can, list all your neighbors. Look, no one's going to do this. I wouldn't do this. But the reason I put it in there is because at least, things have changed, but at least now, get to know the neighbors on both sides, or on one side, or get to know the neighbor across the street. I had a neighbor that, nice guy. I trusted him. I gave him my house key, and everything was fine. No issues, no problem. He had my alarm code. He fed my cat when I was out of town. Not a problem. So get to know your neighbors. You don't have to go to that extreme. Look, if you don't know any of your neighbors, take the time to meet them. If you don't like any of your neighbors, hey, maybe it's time to re-examine your outlook on life. Because, hey, I know I may have offended somebody here, but I'll tell you right now, I had an aunt that lived in the city, and she didn't get along with anybody. And I know how she was. It was her, And I'm not saying that you here, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but look, take the time to get to know your neighbors. You don't have to give them your freaking house key, but at least get to know them, right? That's what we're all here for tonight. We're all working together. We can't do it alone, right?
Right.
All right, are you with me?
Right.
Do I get an amen? Amen. All right, for those religious, I'm not trying to push religion on you. Does this sound like the thing to say? We're in a church? I don't know. I'll give you, actually, enough questions, because I got to go to her first, and then I'll get back to you, okay? All right, so, if you want to, just write their number down. If you go on vacation, let them know, right? Let me know. You can shoot me an email. I'll do a vacation check for you. I tell people all the time, give me your house key. I'll go in and check your house for you. I promise, if I have a party, I will clean up afterward. I promise. Okay, the next page, don't become a victim. We put these on your cars when you're parked in the city. We don't do it very often, but the information is very important. Look, thieves are going to rip you off when you give them the opportunity. Don't leave stuff in your car at all. There should be no reason for it. If you go shopping, you don't have a choice. Hide the stuff under your seat or in the trunk and then move somewhere else. Don't go shopping, throw your stuff in the back of the trunk, and then leave, walk away from the car, because people are watching parking lots. As soon as you do, they're in your window, they're in your trunk, and they're gone in a matter of 30 seconds, I promise you. GPS systems, laptops, purses, ladies, bags, wallets, guys. I can't pick on the ladies. Right? Don't leave this stuff in your car. Don't leave it in plain view. Don't leave change in your car. You'll see a video tonight where we got a guy who the window's cracked. He goes in there and opens the car just through the cracked window. Don't leave anything in the car unless you absolutely have to. You're just asking for problems. Lucy, we'll hold off on one second because I want to get to the city first, okay? And I want to keep moving.
I just wanted to add to what you're saying.
Go ahead. Lucy's my volunteer.
How many ladies drop your kids off at school and do not take your purse with you when you leave the car? Okay. Personal experience, all it took was 30 seconds. Even with parents coming and going, 30 seconds, they took my stuff. And I was 15 feet away. They watch you, even at school, okay?
We had it happen in the park. We were here. Deputies were here. Black and whites were here. Easter egg hunts. And two ladies back to back did the same thing. We got it on video. The problem is the video was great, but we couldn't get the license plate. They got away. All right? And you can't get the stuff back. I'm going to give you some reality here. Every once in a while, we actually catch a bad guy with their stuff and we get it back to you. If you're lucky, we'll get all of it back to you. 95% of the time, it doesn't happen. So you have to protect yourselves. Right? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you, oh yeah, we're going to get your stuff back. Or it's a 50-50 chance. I want you to walk away from here knowing, shoot, I got to protect my stuff. Same with your homes. go through that sheet when you have time, take a look at it. Brian, let's start one table at a time. You're in charge of Rommel. One at a time so we don't lose everybody and it's not too disruptive. Let's get the food going and then we'll be good. That way everybody's out, they're all fed. And you guys won't fall asleep on me too fast because you wanted to eat earlier, right? So, the next 2 sheets, they're old sheets. It's just to give you an idea, if you call the station about a suspicious person or a car, right? These are some of the things that they might ask you. You don't have to get that detailed about it, all right? You don't have to be that detailed. 211 fact sheet. What is 211? Mark, what's 2? I keep forgetting. That's a general directory. A general directory, all right? If you have general questions or you need general numbers, right? 211. City services, next page. All right? Those are all the city services and the numbers. Oh, Brian, wait, before she leaves, what's your question before you go so we can...
Well, actually, mine is more of a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
We lived in a city where I'm the type of person where I believe in surveillance.
You what?
I'm the type of person where me and my husband, we put up surveillance.
Good, okay.
And we already know that cameras deter a lot of issues.
Yes.
The scavenging is an issue for us because the thing of it is it looks innocent and then you got strange people come into your area.
Right.
They're going in the cans and then you think, everybody tells you, oh, they're just trying to make a living. They're not doing anything wrong, and maybe they're not. But the other thing is, the problem with me with strangers is they're surveying your area. They keep coming in the area, they know what time you leave, they know what time you, and that alone has made us extremely uncomfortable because just the other day, my husband had, it wasn't anything big, but he had something stolen from him. And so we were very upset about it because it's not about what they stole, it was about, it felt like an invasion. And so now we're gonna put up cameras. And so we're wondering, because we put up our own surveillance.
Right.
So we're wondering now, if we put the surveillance up, is it gonna send a signal to the area that this is a crime-ridden area?
No.
Because that's not what we're trying to do. But what we're trying to do now is catch the people and hold them responsible for what they're doing.
Yeah, you're
because when
fine.
we had cameras, we deterred, not only that, we deterred a lot of other people from doing things they weren't supposed to do.
Right.
So when they saw those cameras and they saw them on video,
Right.
they wouldn't do what they thought they were gonna do. So now, just because they did that this weekend, my husband was so upset about it, we figured, okay, now we're gonna put surveillance up.
Right. I think you're fine with surveillance. I think it's a great tool. I don't know if we're going to touch on it tonight because we talked about it last year at our meeting.
Okay.
You're good with that. I wouldn't worry about the city. When you start putting bars in your windows and fences in your yards,
Yeah, I don't really like that.
But look, the people that are stealing recyclables, most of those people are looking for the money. We do have transients, though, doing the same thing, and they are definitely a problem for us.
But
and they
see,
are breaking into your cars and your homes. It's most of your cars, okay?
But see, I don't
you-
think that, because I think if you're gonna do that, then how far are you gonna go? You'll be in if you can watch me,
Yeah.
and you take hands,
Right.
then all of a sudden it can escalate to home invasion.
It
And
could.
so we're afraid about that.
Well, you're right, things do escalate, but I don't see your trash people, especially the people that are just trying to get money. Your transients, too, are usually just trying to get a few bucks.
But
Now-
it wasn't trash. They were in a tote
Uh-huh.
on our property, back in our property.
Oh, in your backyard?
It was not
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
street.
Well, yeah, and that's something completely different than what we're talking about then. In that case,
The difference between that and scavenging is trash cans, bags, debris placed curbside to pick up on your trash day. Them coming around picking up and going through the trash cans, digging through it and removing the cans, that's scavenging. Someone going onto your property and removing stuff from a secured tow.
They removed cans. See, and that's what I
not
thought.
scavenging. That's,
Well, yeah, but they were regular aluminum cans, and I thought if they went that far into my property, now they're
those
escalating.
information that you're kind of combining them into one. That is, that's your property, that's not scavenging. Scavenging is going through the trash, that's the place of.
But-
Right, no,
but her
what
point-
I was saying was, the scavenging seems innocent
Yeah.
enough.
but now when you come back
Now,
on your
it's like our
property.
cans taken from the back of our property where it was covered. It was in a tote. So now I'm thinking they're escalating
Yeah,
that issue.
I got your point. Yeah, her point basically is she's worried. Yeah, you should be concerned about it, that's why we're here.
Yeah, we're very
And I
concerned.
want you to email me, if we don't have time to address that, I want you to email me, let me know, we'll sit down and talk when we have the time to do address that, all right? And I'll tell you right now, though, it is definitely a good concern, but it's not one you need to be overly worried about, okay? Concerned about, not overly worried. We don't have home invasion robberies typically in our city, okay? Okay, guys, hold up just so I don't, you guys, I'm losing my voice already. Okay, the next page is shopping carts, number to call for abandoned shopping carts. And then lastly, if you have graffiti, the city has actually gone out and hired a company. They clean up stuff most of the time before you even see it. They photograph it, they take a GPS coordinate of it, the date and time, and they put a dollar amount on it as well. It's a great tool. We had a case 4 or 5 years ago, Martin. We had a case 4 or 5 years ago where we ended up arresting 3 kids, 3 adults for about 150 separate acts of vandalism, and we were able to use our database to actually link them all together. We got them to sign off and admit to all the different acts, and the city was able to get reimbursed. Great tool. All right, so the number's on there for you. Okay, we're going to keep things moving because I want to get you out on time. We will have time for your questions, but I want to get through our material first, and we'll break it up with a few questions as we go. All right? So let's talk about some of our problems we're having before we get to the PowerPoint, okay? We're having poser, distraction, burglaries, all right? There are a number of different types of scenarios that can happen. But the basic principle is that what's going to happen is someone's going to knock on your door, they're going to tell you they're your neighbor, they live behind you, there's a problem with your water, they want to check your water, they want to check their wall because they want to paint it and they need some type of idea about the square footage of the back of their wall. It could be anything. Look, if you don't call someone to do work on your house and you're not expecting somebody, don't ever, no matter who you are, ever let anybody in your house. And if you're not sure, call the sheriff's station and let them know. We will send somebody out to find out what they're up to. They go in, they distract you, they send you to your backyard or a room upstairs while their partner goes in and rips you off. Okay? You have to be aware of that. Another trend we're seeing is we have older, elderly Asian ladies, predominantly Asian ladies, it's a cultural thing, where they're hit up by 2 or 3 younger Asian women, and we've had 3 or 4 incidents in the last couple years, nothing in the last 6 to 8 months or longer. But what they do is they say, hey, your son, your grandson, they have a curse, and we can help you with your curse. They're going based on, they're taking advantage of the cultural, maybe religious beliefs of these people, and they're taking advantage of that, okay? And they're actually telling them, give me 10,000, 20,000, we'll return it, and we'll take your curse off. Well, when they get the bag back, there's no money in it, right? It's bottles or some nonsense. So be careful, be aware of that. Lucy?
May I add to that?
Sure.
他刚刚讲的就是，我不知道大家有没有在报纸上看到金光党，就是专门骗人家说家里面有人受诅咒。我们家不是有人受害的，所以就是说希望大家要注意一下。
Okay, thank you, Lucy. Okay, so listen. Not only that, fumigation burglaries, another problem. Our main 2 crimes, our biggest problem, residential burglaries and vehicle burglaries. Okay, and we're going to talk about that, my partners will, in their PowerPoint. Okay? However, these other things are going on and you need to be aware of it. We don't want you to be a victim. The fumigation burglaries, you have your house tenanted, we have these dummies coming over, maybe a day in, there's still gas in there, and they either use a gas mask or they use a t-shirt, they go into your house and end up stealing your stuff because it's not locked typically. You gotta leave the windows open, right? So they'll go in through one of your windows. Okay, so if you're gonna do that, obviously let us know, we will check it. Our crime analyst actually sends us a notice every week of the houses that we know of being tenanted in your area. Shoot me an email. I will send it to patrol, and I'll make sure they at least get out there and check on your home for you. But that's why talking to your neighbors is so important. Have your neighbors, someone backs into your drive. I can't tell you how many times we've had somebody back into somebody's driveway, load up all their neighbor's stuff, and take off. We come out, take a report, and then 2 days after the report, they're talking, the victim's talking to the neighbors, oh yeah, there was a red car in your driveway, and they were loading stuff up. I never thought to call, right? Look, if you're not sure, call. We tell people all the time, don't worry about it. If they give you a hard time at the desk, tell them, hey, Jesse Adams told me to call. If you want to be pissed off, blame him. Right? But we need your eyes. And we need your ears. If you don't contact us, a lot of times you're not giving us the probable cause that we need to stop that person, detain that person, and find out what they're doing. Call. If they look suspicious and you're not sure, call. It's for your own good. Look, you live in this city. I do too right now for a while, but I'm not going to be permanently. Take care of your city. Call. All right? That's the last time I'll say that. No, one more time. Call. I'm kidding. I'm trying to emphasize it, but I'm just being a little dramatic sometimes. All right. How we doing? Are we all right? I know you guys are all doing good because you're eating. And it got awfully quiet over here. You guys will be taken care of. And they're going to be here all night. So if you want to go back later, you can. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify, like, when do we call 911 versus when do we call the other number?
That's a good question. We covered that last year, but we'll talk about it. Basically, if somebody's not breathing, they need emergency help right away because of some type of injury or illness. If you think someone's getting their house broken into right now, that's when you call 911. An emergency, okay? If you're not sure, and that doesn't fall under that, call 911, all right? You might get scolded a little bit. But other than that, if it's someone looking suspicious, call the station. If once you call the station, they figure it's more emergent, they'll upgrade the call, and we'll send units rolling code 3 to your house, all right? Okay.
So like drunken, young adults in the street, 3 o'clock in the morning, and their car yelling, that's not 911.
That's not 911. Yeah. I mean, if there's like some kind of danger where they're throwing bottles at cars going by, where that could end up being serious, then you can call 911. But if they're just being stupid, we'll get out there. We just won't be rolling code 3 over. And code 3 is like with red lights and sirens and busting red lights to get there. All right. So fumigation, burglaries. If you're going to get your house tenanted, let your neighbors know. Communicate with them. Shoot me an email, and we'll make sure we check your house for you as well. And don't leave stuff in your home. If you've got sentimental items or valuable items that you're worried about, get a safe. Leave it in a safe deposit box. Hide it somewhere in your house. Really, there shouldn't be anything in your home you're that worried about unless it's sentimental, other than you and your family members and your loved ones. Because really, at the end of the day, all that really matters is that you and your loved ones are safe. All those personal belongings, we're not taking them with us when we leave. All right? Yeah, do we get upset when we lose them? Sure. Do we want people taking them? Heck no. All right? Just keep that in mind. Be careful about what you do with your items. Transients, ongoing problem. We've had transient operations where we hit them hard, we take the shopping carts, we cite them for loitering, for urinating in the public. Whatever they're doing, park, if they're in the park hanging out, they're not supposed to be there, we arrest. Okay, we don't mess around. We have some that just won't go away. No matter how much we harass them, and we call it, look, you can call it whatever you want, harassing, whatever you want to call it. We're enforcing the law. This city is a great city, we want to keep it that way. I go to church every week, not pushing religion, it's not for everybody. I believe in giving to charity, helping people, making a difference. I really do. But the problem is, your transients, a lot of them are breaking into your cars. They're breaking into your homes. They're in front of your businesses. Ralph's had a bench out there. They had to take it out because the customers couldn't use it because the transients were hanging out. Even when we cited them, they go to another bench somewhere else. An ongoing problem. We're trying to get the recycling center at Ralph's removed because all those people that are doing the recyclable theft and all our transients are ripping you off. They come and rip you off with, through your home, and they get the recyclables, and they go through the city. We've got people coming in from Roseville and El Monte just because we have the recycling center. And we have it right in the heart of the downtown area. We just need to move, out of that area. Keep it clean, keep it nice for everybody. We want a nice city. We are constantly dealing with that. All right, the last thing I want to touch on real quick, we'll take a couple of questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kirk and Rob, and I'll introduce them in a second, is we had 3 separate shootings in about a week or week and a half. Kirk did most of the work on that. Or actually, I should say, we all worked on it, but he headed it up. He's got more of the details. But basically, just so everybody knows, if you heard about the shootings, if you got them in the crime blotter or something else, and even if you didn't know, that's rare for us. We had a kid who was at the high school, 18 years old. He was an adult. He had a problem with another kid. And that kid and his father came forward, and we dealt with what we could at the time. Well, this kid, the same kid, our suspect, the bad guy, the one that did the shooting, ended up having a problem with somebody else. So he took it upon himself to take a gun and shoot at his home. And then he bailed. Well, dummy goes and brags about it, and he's threatening him on his cell phone on Facebook for everybody in the world to see, including our detective, Rob Leva. All right? Rob gets a hold of the victim. He does some investigation. He gets enough to have the judge sign a search warrant and arrest warrant for this guy. We go to his house. He lives in Roseby. Let me back up. He did the one shooting a week later. The night that we were going at 6 in the morning to hit his house, bust down his door, go in, detain everybody, arrest him, arrest anybody else in the house that needed to go, and do our investigation, okay? I should say bust him. If they open the door for us, we go in that way. But if not, we break it down. You know, we break it in, we break it in. Okay. That morning, was it Monday morning or Tuesday morning? Sunday night for Monday morning, he does another shooting at the same kid's house. And he uses his mom's car in one, I think, and his brother's car in another. And so we go in there, we get him, we arrest him. Hey, Al, you don't have anything on me. We take the two cars that we think were involved, and there's 2 casings in the car, one of the cars, that match the casings left from the first shooting. And on top of it, it's a little out of order, I'm sorry, there was a 3rd shooting on 10 later that same morning, that Monday morning. The morning we're going to do the search warrant. So he was good for 3 separate shootings. We find a gun case in his room. It's empty with no gun. In one of the cars, we find a clip for magazines, to hold magazines, which are the things that go in the gun to help the bullets come out quickly, for a semi-automatic handgun. And that's found in one of the other cars. So we finally get him to the station, and he finally admits, yeah, I did all 3 shootings. So he'll be going to jail for a very long time. But just so everybody knows, that's not something that's normal for our city. Okay? Now, with that said, I covered the crime trends. We're going to talk specifically now about kind of our burglaries and our narcotic activity. The guys are going to take that. Before they do, a couple of questions, and then we're going to keep you. And we're good on time. And like I said, we'll stay later if we need to. Yes, ma'am.
I just have one thing to mention.
Yeah.
There was a bird that went around with something else. What happened with that?
The investigation.
That's here to mess out of us.
Yeah, all I can tell you right now is the investigation's ongoing. We think, my opinion is, my only opinion, you speak, is that it was an isolated incident. We haven't had any other problems. I can't tell you anymore, okay? Because we're not allowed to. Homicide's got the investigation, and if we tell you something, it could taint their investigation. Because when they do, if and when they do find the bad guy, and I believe they will, we can't have information out there that everybody else, that he may have had when they're being arrested.
When we heard the paper was, she got along with everybody, so we were scared to death, and we heard about that.
Yeah, I don't have a crystal ball, and I can't tell you everything's going to be great and dandy and hunky-dory for you, okay? But I will tell you, I think it's an isolated incident. They are on the investigation. The detective handling the case is a very knowledgeable, great guy, a personal friend of mine who worked with me at the station. They will do a great job of that investigation, and most of the time, they're able to solve that. But you got to realize, sometimes murders go unsolved. It happens. All right? But the good thing is, I really truly believe it's an isolated incident. We don't have a serial killer in our neighborhood. I don't believe we have that. And we haven't had anything going on since, which is good. All right, one more question, then I want to turn it over to the guys, so we can keep things moving. Yes, ma'am.
I don't even know if this is here, but what's the difference with the cars that go like those cabinets? It's like the same cars that go up and down. I live here off of Valley, but it's always the same cars that go up like this.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's always been happening since I lived here.
The problem is traffic concerns where you have people speeding, maybe they're blowing stop signs. Email me, and I'll get a hold of Mike Baker, and we do our team actually does traffic operations every once in a while. That's not our primary function, but we still look, whatever needs to be done, we're gonna do it, okay? So if you email me the times, days, if you get license plates of cars, at the very least, if they live locally, we'll go by and we'll actually contact and say, hey, look, your neighbors will say who, your neighbors are complaining, they got your license plate. If I have to, I'll step the leaf to go by and I'll write you a ticket. So email me. If you got a problem at all traffic related, we'll either deal with it or we'll send it to our traffic guy. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I live right here on the corner, all the back.
Guys, hold on, I'll talk just for a minute. So I want everyone to be able to hear what he has to say and what his question is too. Go ahead.
We have numerous accidents here at this intersection, and I feel the lack of speed limit or whatever on all the time.
Yeah, I slow down.
Or ways to stop. How do you go about getting the four ways to stop?
All right, just so everybody knows, can I get everybody's attention? We just want to keep it because I know it's hot and people are eating and talking, and that's good. We want everybody listening. So, okay. The question is, how do we slow people down? It used to be our council before, they were worried about the civil liability of speed bumps. That's something they're looking at. Brian will talk to you a little bit about the traffic calming study. The city's doing bypass. The city's doing a number of things that you can get involved with. At the very least, email Brian, let him know your concerns, and CC me, and we'll follow up and get you an answer one way or another. Those are expensive. If you have to get the traffic engineer to buy off on it, it may very well happen. It has happened before. It may not. But at least we can get you an answer. And a lot of times, maybe what you're looking for isn't what we're going to be able to do for you, but we can do something else. So if you email me, we'll do whatever we can think of to help you out and make a difference. Okay? All right, listen. You guys are awesome. I'll take one more question in a second, then I want to turn it over, and then we'll be here afterwards too for more questions, okay? Yeah.
Any crime against children in our
Crimes against children, every once in a while. We have registered sex offenders. You can actually go on Megan's. You can find out the general area they're at. If you're not sure, you're concerned, call me, email me. We have a guy, Lorenzo, he meets with our registered sex offenders. We have about 25 to 30 in our city. It doesn't mean they're all terribly bad guys. Some were, 19, 20 years old, and they maybe were with someone 17 years old. Some of it's lightweight. Most of them are all doing very well. They haven't reoffended. But look, you need to be worried about those, and especially, even more so, more worried about people we don't know about that aren't even registered yet, because there's a lot of them out there. So it's incumbent on you as a parent or a grandparent to protect your kids, educate your kids, be with your kids, know what they're doing, making sure they're doing homework, and spending quality time with them. Most of you all here do that. Our guys and gals that we end up arresting later on in life, they're the ones that don't have the parents doing that, and those parents, most of them, aren't ever going to come to a meeting like this because they're too busy with whatever. So, all right. Thank you. You guys have been awesome. We're not done. We have a whole lot more to go. How are we doing on the food? Most everybody's eating. I love it. And we got through it without really a big problem, right? Everybody happy?
Yes.
Happy? All right. All right. Remember I told you that Kirk and I were in the gym? This is Kirk. We were in the gym because we still need to take care of our bodies, all right? Rod, what do we call him? He's got a sub. Keep it clean. The bomb, the big one. Rod used to be a bodybuilder. He's too good for us, so he doesn't have to work out. But that's just so you can identify who they are. Kurt Cardella, Rob Alvarez, all right? And they're going to touch on whatever they need to give you and the PowerPoint. Go ahead, guys.
Okay, welcome. Again, hope you enjoyed the evening. A lot of information. Again, my name is Robert Alvarez, Deputy Alvarez. I'm the new one on the team. My partner's already been introduced. This is Kirk Cardella. He'll be jumping in right now and give you some more information. Okay, before the night is over, what I want to be crystal clear is I want you to understand that it's a collaboration between law enforcement and the community working together to identify what crimes are and helping us. Because again, we can preach all we want about how to prevent crime, how to identify suspects on crime, how to help yourself retrieve your property that's stolen, but without your help, I'm telling you right now, we're undermanned, but without your help, it's not going to be better. It's not going to get any better. So again, before the night's over, I want to make crystal clear the collaboration between you and law enforcement together will assist on making a better community. Because again, Temple City is a very safe community, although things are happening. But you remember, what's happening now is just a mining, something out of the ordinary compared to the surrounding little community and city. Okay? Again, I'm going to be talking about vehicle burglaries, residential burglaries, how to identify them, how to prevent them, and how to assist you on maybe getting your property back, and general aspects in terms of helping you prevent it. Okay? Common facts between drugs and thieves. Okay, people who rob your house or burglarize your house, burglarize your vehicle. Okay, these are specific people, and the most common person that does it are people under the influence. Okay. The common drug right now that people that use in society right now is methamphetamine. It's a stimulant. Okay, and to feed this drug, this person needs money to purchase it. Okay, these people don't work. You know, they don't have no money. They usually have jobs in the initial stages when they start using drugs. And what happens? They fall into this cycle of they want the drug constantly. So what do? They pay for the drugs. They go through all their necessities, their means of their life, property, cars, they lose their job. When it gets down to the point where they need money to get their drugs and they don't have no money, what do? What's available, ready available in front of them, which is you, community of Temple City. They're walking down the street. They need money. They need something of sal in their hands on to get that money, to get that narcotics, to feed their fem or their meth need. Okay, and what do they see? It's a crime of opportunity. Okay, and again, these are things that I'm going to tell you to prevent. It's not 100%. Positive that it's not going to happen to you, but these are just some aspects in terms of happening. Okay, so vehicle burns. Okay, what do you need not to do? Okay, obviously don't leave your vehicle unlocked. Okay, don't leave things that are going to entice someone who's going to burglarize your vehicle, such as leaving your purse in the front seat, leaving valuables in plain view. Again, if you have your purse, and I tell this to my wife, okay, it's unnecessary for you to have in your purse multiple credit cards, checking accounts, checking books, money, everything that you have in your life in one bag. Okay, I tell her, and this is just a law enforcement aspect, if you're going to go to a shopping center or purchase groceries or go buy something, use one credit card. Don't use a checkbook. Don't leave things because, believe me, I'm going to tell you a story in a couple minutes that I was victimized because, believe me, crime does not discriminate. Okay? Again, keep your car, don't park in dark alleys. Don't park in front of a big vehicle. Don't leave your windows cracked. Okay? These are things. Crime of opportunity, they're going to get into your car either way. If they want to get in your vehicle, they're going to get in there. They're going to smash the window. Quick, take your car. Again, if they take your car and you have one credit card and one checkbook, that's it. Well, okay, then that's all they took. Okay? You still get victimized and you feel like a person that you did something wrong. Okay? I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'm a big Steelers fan. Steelers hurt. Steelers go. Yeah, go Steelers. Steelers in the playoffs a couple years ago. Okay, I go to my friend's house. I leave my house. Have a great time. Steelers win. I come back late at night about 11 o'clock. I drive into my garage. I shut the garage. I'm going to work the next day. So I go up, get ready, prepare for work, get on my clothes, get everything done, go upstairs, go to sleep. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, get ready. I go down to my vehicle because I think I forgot something inside the car. I go down there, the garage door's open. Okay? And what does a loving, honest, dedicated husband do? Sees the garage door open in the middle of the night, blames his wife. So I go directly upstairs and tell my wife, what are you doing? You can't leave the garage door open all night. She says, I didn't leave the garage door open all night. So I go down there and quickly identify that someone went in there, broke into the garage, and stole my property. Okay? This law enforcement, someone who knows what to do, knows the aspects or small detail what not to do to get burglarized. It doesn't matter. If they're gonna want to go in your garage, go in your residence, go in your vehicle, they're gonna get there. Okay. Believe it or not, your community is safe, but there is narcotics in your city. There is people who sell. There are bad people, parolees, probationers that live in your city. Okay, that's our responsibility to identify them and know where they're at in the residence. Does that mean that they're gonna stay in their homes and not do the stuff that they get caught in the past? No. Okay. You don't know this, but every city has crime. Okay. You live in a very safe city, but don't be very naive to know that hey, nothing's happening in my city. It's our job to find them, and it's your job and I say your job to help us. Again, when I made my statement at the beginning of this conversation, without your help, we cannot work. If we don't work together, we cannot solve the problem. Okay? When there is narcotics inside your city, what's going to happen is you get these people that are under influence who are walking down the street. If you know your street, you know your residents, you know the people around you, the cars, you can identify the cars of your neighbors. If you see something suspicious, like someone walking up and down the street, haggard, torn up, long hair, doesn't look like he's been washed, taking a bath in a long time, looking into cars, knocking on doors, don't be afraid to call 911 or contact us. It is our job. You pay our salary to conduct a service to provide to you, the general public, to go out and call. You see someone going down the neighborhood looking in the driveways and into residents, and you call, and we go down there and contact them, and if it's nothing, then it's nothing. That's okay. We contact him. If he's looking for a neighbor, looking for a friend, no harm, no foul, right? But I always tell these to people who go down there and say, you know what, I did see this guy going down the street, and I wasn't a call. Just call. Call. It's a call for service. Again, we go and contact and make your neighborhood safe. Okay? Narcotic locations. Okay, when you're in your neighborhood, we're going to talk about weed grows, because weed grows is on the rise. Okay, weed grows or marijuana grows or cultivation are residents that look like someone's occupying them, but they black out the windows and they grow marijuana in the slides that we're going to show you. They're going to show you the internal functions of a weed grow or narcotic grow or cultivation. Okay, if you're living in your neighborhood and you don't see your resident or your neighbor, but you know that someone is occupying them by hearing cars going out, see people going in there, people that you don't recognize, the windows are blacked out with foil, you can smell a weird odor. Some of you might know what marijuana smells like, you can smell it. You see cars going in and out of that same driveway late at night and only late at night. Again, call us for call for service, because that's suspicious. It's not a normal activity, someone coming in and out late at night. Maybe they do work at night. Maybe there is a legitimate reason why they're coming in and out. But if it's suspicious to you, it's your neighborhood. You protect your kids, your family, your property, your house, your cars. It's incumbent on you to protect yourself, because again, you're the eyes and ears of every block, every neighborhood, every community. Okay? If you do feel like something is very suspicious, go down there, because again, you see pictures of normal residents. When we go there and we do our warrants and we go into the residence and collect all the marijuana, what's the first thing the neighbor does, or when we contact a neighbor, I was smelling a weird smell, I saw some weird cars, all the attributes, all the details that we know as suspicious. Okay?
Real quick, I'm going to comment on a couple of things that Rob said here. Some of the stuff here with these individuals who are out there doing this stuff. Things we have up here. You see, guys, these things that don't look like people walking. Which middle-aged individual is going to be riding like a teenager bike? Okay, that happens all the time. So these are something to look at. You got a 30, 35-year-old guy, looks pretty dirty, and he's riding a kid's bike down the street. He's kind of looking in and out. Those are the kind of things we'd like you to call us. Okay, the marijuana grows, just like my partner said, are big. But you guys, by calling us, you're giving us a call. We're going to stop and talk to these people. We need to know that. That helps us identify who they are, if they're on probation, parole, or any of those things, and then we can go from there. I'll go through. I think the next one's going to be the marijuana. Yeah.
Just real quick. On the marijuana grows, they're doing 3 or 4 houses or more at a time.
We found out about one in our city because somebody at one of the concerts in the park said, hey, these guys came in, they had doctors, they had ventilation things, they had lights, grow lights. They came in at night, they said, and then we haven't seen them since they come in every 2 or 3 nights. Well, that's how we found out about it from a neighbor who actually called us. And what's going on is they'll have 3 to 4 or 5 or 6 homes. They put 1,000 plants in one home. And in 2 months, the plants start from babies, or whatever you call a small plant. And by the time they're full and ready to go for the product, it's 2 months, and they've made anywhere from $80,000 to $140,000. One house every 2 months. Wow. So tell me, look, I'm the wrong line of work. Seriously. That's a lot of money, and marijuana's almost legal. I'm kidding. Especially for the kids, I was joking. I'm just kidding. Okay? But the money's good, and that's why they're doing it, obviously. So I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, real quickly, sorry, my name is Deputy Cardella. Work here with Temple too. been in this area for the last 12 years, born and raised here. So this stuff really gets me going when I have to come to the city that I grew up in and see all these people trying to do all this nasty stuff. Personally, I want to make it as safe as I can, that it was when I was a kid growing up out here, and I can do all the things and enjoy the liberties that we don't want. Marijuana growth, we did go over some, Rob went over some of this. A lot of times, young males rent these homes are paying several months in advance. Okay, the things that you can't see are what goes inside that house, how your house gets destroyed. If you're renting this and someone rents for the first 8 months, young kids, you never see them, never hear from them. I'll show you some pictures on how bad your house can get. Usually what will happen is that house is absolutely wrecked. Done, total, you're gonna tear the walls down. Once it's sitting here cultivating this stuff in your home, the smell permeates through the walls, into the ceiling, everywhere. So you're gonna tear down your walls, you're gonna tear down your ceiling, pull all your stuff out, and have to redo it. That's thousands and thousands of dollars. They're so popular, like Rick said, because you can make so much money so fast. And it's such a turnaround. And nowadays, unfortunately, it's going to be almost legal because if we can tax and make money, I guess everybody says that's okay. I think it's wrong, personally myself. Marijuana in itself, I've seen more people being under the influence of marijuana driving, and teenagers and adults now, because hey, I got a marijuana card, it's okay, right? No, it's not. But that's an issue, and hopefully the courts and lawmakers will figure something out and do a good change on that. I think the next one here will be some pictures. Here is some of the duct work that Rick had mentioned, and you can see all the plants here on the ground, on the tables here. And what this probably is a garage, and here's what they do to your electricity. They're going to siphon in.
这是大麻屋，我们天普是有大麻屋，这是它里面改装的内部，电源啊，以及它会把你的那个内部装修全部都毁坏，外面看不出来。然后呢，它是从左右邻居盗用电，所以你从它的电表是看不出来它是大麻屋的，只能从这些人来来去去，好像似乎都不住在这里才能够查看得到说这个是大麻屋。所以如果是您看到附近有的话，一定要提醒他，他们就会来看。
他怎么样可以盗比别人的电呢？
他们这些人很厉害，他们知道怎么去搭人家的电线。像他们以前有偷电的、偷瓦斯的、偷电话的都有，他们专门有人会做这个。
那我们怎么知道我们有没有被偷？
你要注意你的电力单、电力单，你要比对，因为电力公司一定都会给你比对，因为他们这个通常都是几个月一次，几个月一次，他们不会在同一个地点。If they they typically won't reuse the house over and over again, right?
This house, once it gets what we call burned, like we all know about it and gets hit, they're off.
What if they don't get hit?
They'll stay there until they have to leave.
She's asking how would they know, like, there's a hot house next to them that's stealing their electricity.
Well, here's the deal here. This here, you see all these power converters right here, because they're sapping all the energies, because they're going to disperse it to, if you see these little cans up on the top left, that's the little lights, they're warmers, and it's like the artificial sun, because it's all going to be hidden inside. So this here, they're tapping into all the energy and they're dispersing it through the house. If they're tapping in to your house, you should notice that, if you normally use your Edison or AC and it's only, $30 a month. Next thing you know, you're at $60 a month. What are you doing? Wait a minute, did I tell my kids to stop touching the dial and they're sitting there cranking it to 65? I'm like, no, it's not. These things you have to look at, because that's what might happen. If you do, if you have a telephone pole and you're back home, really close, mutual properties, sometimes they'll happen in the poles right there. And then also sometimes they'll go in transformers and things like that. But with this, they're just dispersing it here through the house, and the ducts right here are what they're going to do, siphon out all that smell, and they're throwing it out through the roof, so that it kind of helps dissipate it, so you, as residents, can't smell it. But unfortunately, it's pretty high concentrated. This is a garage, and I don't know how many hundreds of plants they have here in this garage. This is the kitchen, because we can't waste any space. We're going to use everything. It'll probably just use one room, have a couple chairs, TV, maybe a PlayStation or something in there, because that's all they're worried about. They have all the chemicals, the fertilizer and all that, and they're only there to supply the feeding for the plant, and then they leave. And this is the kitchen, because they do not waste any space. It's getting ready to be set up, the trays that they put them in, and it's huge business. When you guys actually find out, we had one up here off of Bartlett, and neighbors and everybody would say, hey, we hear this really crazy noise at night. Well, what that is their fans. In the early mornings, like 3 or 4, they're shooting all that smell out through the air while everyone's sleeping, so no one, smells it during the day or as much as possible, trying to be sneaky. Well, that wound up being hit, and they found hundreds of plans. I think they found $60,000 in cash. Like Rick said, this is a really big money builder. Residential burglaries, we'll go into there real quick because most of these occur during the weekdays or the day while we're at work. Secure your homes, make sure your alarms are working, and communication with the neighbors, keeping an eye out for people preventing. I know where I live, I like to know whoever's in my neighborhood. If you live in your streets, hopefully you all know whose car is supposed to be there, who's not. Okay, cars are in front of their house, their neighbors, you don't know them, and that just looks weird. Guys sitting there for 30 minutes, call us. We'll come out and make sure. Maybe it is a relative, maybe it is a cousin, friend, or someone they haven't seen, but they're just waiting for them to come out. If they're not, a lot of times these guys will have a couple people. You may not see the one guy get out, but he's just the other guy sitting in the car, and he's watching to make sure nobody's looking at him, and he's on the phone talking to the guy who's trying to figure a way to get into your home. So you guys just basically help us contact these individuals. Call on suspicious people in your neighborhood, right there, on foot, on car, driving, walking, coming in and out of your driveways. Distraction burglaries. We had a couple of those going on. Haven't had a lot lately. These guys pose. Come up maybe in a blue shirt that looks like an Edison guy, or a white one, really no logos, nothing. Kind of look like they're with somebody, but you're not sure. And they'll give you some crazy story. Individual, actually, this story was knocked on the door, elderly lady in her 80s, said, "Hey, we're working across the street, digging, we think we got some of the pipes broke through, might be some dirt in your line. Can you do me a favor and turn on your sink?" And she's kind of taking this all in, and the door's a little bit open. They're not going to wait for you to say, "Sure, come on in." They just kind of help themselves, "Hey, can you come over here and show me?" So they're, implied that you're going to let them in and start walking in. So next you know, she kind of goes with them. They go to the kitchen. "Hey, can you turn on the sink?" Turns on the sink. "Hey, grab a spoon. Can you tap on the sink for me so my guy outside, he can see where the pipes are and we can check." It's all BS. Okay, and then he'll say, "Hey, can you hold on? Where's the bathroom?" "Oh, it's right over here." "All right, you stay here, keep tapping," and then he's going to go over here to the bathroom. So you're here doing this. And now he's in your bedroom that's adjoining to your bathroom, and they're looking for your wallet, your jewelry, and things like that. So he'll come back out and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to go talk to my partner outside. I'll be right. Keep tapping, please." They're gone. It's funny until it happens to you, and it happens. They, have picked on a lot of the elderly. We did catch about 4 or 5 of them last year, and they had about $40,000 or $50,000, all kinds of jewelry, and it was just crazy. And they had the uniform shirts, looked like stuff. If people come to your home, they're from Edison, it's going to say Edison, they have a tag, they have something. If it doesn't look right to you, if you just think something's wrong, call us. Because if they're going to continue walking down the street, Edison or whoever, Department of Water and Power, they're going to continue walking down the street. These guys won't be there in about 3 seconds. After you leave, call us, we'll come talk to them. Yes?
When you say call, you like if somebody suspicious is sitting in a car, is that a 911 or is that the misuse of 911?
It's hard to say. I would say call the station number, which is 285-7171. If you see a few people getting out of the car and they're actually going to the home and you've never seen these people at the home, you know your neighbor, he's got some kids, and it's just the wife and the husband that live there, and just some young kids walking up, kind of going in the backyard, that might be something you want to call, because that might be a burglary almost ready to go, because they're trying to see. So you kind of have to look at the situation in itself, and then dictate it. If it's just someone sitting out there, and they've been there for 35 minutes or so, you can call on a regular line. You give us a call, and we'll come out, and that gives us a call. We'll probably say, come in and talk to them. Maybe they are on probation, whatnot.
Most crimes are crimes of opportunity. Okay, you got to remember these guys. They're very methodical. They're very aware of the surroundings. They just don't pick a resident for just random. They know your habits. When you leave your house, what time you turn your lights off, how many dogs, how many doors. They're gonna burglarize your house. They're looking because they want to get in your house. They're gonna get in your house. But there's things you can do to distract them or deter them. Dogs. I mean, if there's a dog, it's still gonna get in the house, but it's a deterrent. They don't like lights. They don't like noise. They don't like anything that's going to cause alarm or your neighbor's going to look out the window. But remember, I'll give you this little tidbit of information. Again, when I was victimized of a crime and they went in and they took inventory of what was taken, I learned this the hard way. If you buy valuable property like iPhones, computers, laptops, iPads, in the back of the box, and Kurt will touch base on this too, is a serial number. Okay, this helps us help you. Because believe it or not, and Kirk and my partner Adam will tell you, when you get victimized on robbery or theft or burglary at your house, you're not getting your property back. It's just a plain fact. Someone steals your property, it's not like the movies where they go and walk with the computer and say, oh, it's over there, and they go and your property, hey, you're gonna identify this, and they come back, knock on your door, here's your computer. It doesn't work that way. Okay? If you buy some valuable item or property with a serialized number, write that down somewhere. Because when you go down, when you get a report taken, they go to your house, the first thing they're gonna tell you is, okay, what was taken? Second thing to tell you is, was it serialized? You have a serialized number. And that's important because that number, when we take a report, it's attached to the report and then put it to the APS, which is the Automated Property Stolen System. Okay, that number goes into a system that every law enforcement has access to. So later on down the line, like about a year, 2 months, a day even maybe, or 5 years down the line, if we stop a suspicious person, a suspicious vehicle, and they have property in the back, and we run that number on that property, and it's going to come back John Doe or John Smith's property. Okay, then we arrest them for stolen, receiving stolen property, or various amounts of different crimes we've been charged with. But that property is going to go back to you because there's numbers attached to it. You're going to knock on your door, make a phone call. Hey, we found your computer. It may not be in the best, condition, but it's yours. And the reason why it's yours and you're getting it back, because the simple fact when you purchased an item, you took your time and serialized that, and you kept that serialized number. Okay, just want to tell you that.
Okay, I know Rob went over some of this stuff with the vehicle stuff, burglary, locked cards, of opportunity. So be smart what you do, like I said about this serialized stuff. I know we're all victims. I think I probably have about 50 items in my house that I don't have any serial numbers for in case it got stolen. If we can, it would very much help us. The things here too with your vehicle, ladies, please understand these guys have nothing but time to watch and see what you do. So when you say, hey, I'm just gonna put my purse in the back seat right behind the driver's seat, that's where they don't look. They do look. You say, hey, I'm gonna put it when I get you and your girlfriends go to the mall, and you guys get out and you guys get your purses. I want to take my credit card and my ID, and I'm gonna put the purses in the trunk. They'll watch that, and then what they'll do is you can insert vehicles, you can punch out the back left brake light or the right, and reach on in and unlock the back of the car, and they're out of there 20 seconds. You won't even know it until you come back out an hour and a half later. So be vigilant on what you do and what you take. If you get those little metal containers for your credit card, you can put it in your pocket and hold everything you have, those work. Those also help you with the fact that these people now have little scanners, and they walk on by you, and they just kind of go like this, and now they've captured some of your information off your credit cards. And they'll go burn cards right off the bat and start charging up your accounts. So these guys have nothing but time, and they use that time to watch. It's a norm for people to do, and they prey on that because that's what they do.
I don't understand. You were saying, I saw this on TV too, but you mean, we all put our credit card, either guys put the wallet or ladies' purse. So they can scan everybody's credit card, right?
You can. They do have those little metal cases that keeps it from, getting scanned.
Oh.
And so, I know my wife, she got one, and, like Rob said, they don't care if you're the police, fire, or anybody, they'll steal it. I've had guys try to steal my car right here in Temple City, and I'm staying with my mother-in-law. And I went outside, and, the guy took off and everything, we wanted to catch him. But they don't differentiate. It does not matter who you are. An opportunity is an opportunity. So please be sure you guys think about those things when you do. Like Rob said, you don't need to take the whole house with you when you go shopping. Don't take that. If you leave the stuff out in plain view, they're going to do it. Your Garmin, your Magellan, your little nav systems, those are stolen all day long, and they can go, for maybe 30, 40 bucks at pawn shop. They don't want a lot, they just need a little to help them fight their habits. So if you guys can, please don't leave anything of importance out, because this is huge, this is what they do. We do have this individual here, and he was one of our huge thieves going around this area, down here, in this area, right where we're at right now. Rob gets a report, call to go down to the house has been burglarized. He gets there as he's done with one, goes to walk to his car, the neighbor comes down and says, hey, my house is burglarized. This guy hit the whole street almost, man, with about what, six homes in one night. Finally, Rob's going to the last one, because now he's just walking down the street seeing who's got a house that's been burglarized. So pretty much people are coming out as soon as he's done. Finds out he talks to one gentleman, the guy says, yeah, not really much is taken, but it's found in his backpack. not really a big deal. I wasn't even gonna tell you about it. Rob goes to the backpack, checks it out, and there's all kinds of property inside of it. And unfortunately, these guys are not the smartest guys in the world. They like to glamorize themselves, and he's taking a picture of it himself, smoking a cigarette. So I'm down the street, a couple blocks away, and I said, told Rob, hey, I'm out there, so you let me know. And he sees this and says, hey, I don't know who it is. Says, I'm gonna send you a picture, so you know who it is. I knew exactly who this guy was for all the contacts that we had over the past. It happened to be his property, he was in the house, and he was stealing, and it wound up, long story short, is this guy probably was responsible for about 16 to 17 residential burglaries. Okay, and we were able to put about 4 of them on, just sometimes with fingerprints, things of that nature that are unattainable. We weren't able to actually say he did it, but we know he was probably responsible. He was so high when he was doing this, he has no idea where half the property went. I don't know. I was just out there stealing, going crazy because I was binging for a week long. He was just beating the high. And he was just breaking in.
So dangerous, let me tell you. It was so high, like a part of saying that he was breaking into houses with people in the house. Eating dinner, working on their work at home, and didn't care. Okay, and I take pride in the fact that myself, Cardella, and every other person that was involved in this case, we solved it because, believe me, he was hitting us so hard. Every day when I went, before I got to the team, I would go 10A, which means going in the car and call for service. I would give vehicle burglary reports and residential burglary reports, constant. And I was telling Kurt, hey, this guy has to get stopped. And then pretty soon we're getting where, hey, I seen him in the house, and then he's jumping out the window. That's dangerous. People are saying they're asleep, they wake up and someone's in the house. That's very, very dangerous for some sort of person that's high, because again, if he gets caught, you know what to do. But again, I take pride in myself and Kurt that we handled that situation.
And like I said, vehicle, this guy did not care. Vehicle, residential, home, not home. And actually, this was another residential that was before all this. I happened to see that was Gary and I said, hey, they have video. Let me check it out. Let me see what I can see on this. Maybe I can help figure out who it is. And this is actually Rudy stealing stuff out of this vehicle. This vehicle had his windows rolled down just a little bit, and you'll see him reaching in and just going to town trying to get into your car. So, yes, it's hot. We don't want our dashboards to crack and all that good stuff, right? You don't have one of those little reflective things in front of your car so you don't get up in the morning and your car feels like it's like a, Palm Springs when you walk in there. Well, be careful. There's a lot of Rudies out there. All they need is this much space to fit an arm in and reach in and unlock your car. And momentarily he's going to open it up and he's going to get inside. He's going to hang out for a while, sit there, and then walk around. I ID'd this guy, like I said, for over the last, God knows how many years I've run into this kid since he's been a teenager, and up to now, because of the tattoos. You can barely see them on his hands, and his forearms, as he goes around the back of his car and comes out, and the way that his body is structured and how he walks and how he presents himself. With that, I was able to identify him. I was confident I could go into court and say, that's Rudy. He wound up copying to this. Detective went to talk to him about the case that Rob found his phone in, and before he could even start, he was just knocking him up. I was so high, I didn't know what I was doing. I was breaking in his cars and all this other stuff off of this house in the street. And he goes in and tells it, and then he's like, okay, well, what about this? This is why I'm here. Yeah, that's me too. So he was out of his mind doing these nonsense things. So we were lucky we caught this guy. I know we went through this a little fast, but like Rick said, we're going to be here afterwards. If you have any questions, things like that. I don't want to dip into the city's time too much.
Before I go, I want to make two comments. Rudy Duran, although we put a lot of work into this individual to get arrested and put away for a long time, the key to this was a resident who took his opportunity to take time and to tell me, because he wasn't even report his garage was being stolen or broken into. He took his time to say, hey, Deputy Alvarez, they broke into my garage, and all they took was 50 cent pieces and some cards or some memorabilia. But if he didn't turn around and tell me, and that's the involvement in the community, then this probably would have been kept going on, more victims and more victims. Again, by identifying that backpack that's not his, he said, hey, this is not mine, look in it, and we found this original. Okay, second thing I want to tell you is, this community is very, very safe. When we pass out the flyers, and this is a pet peeve of mine, and Kurt's too, when we pass out the flyers to the area watch, we do individual house residents, one by one, we do it by foot, and with the collaboration of the city. But every time we pass out a flyer, kid you not, Greg will tell you, we run across vehicles that have their windows down, their front door wide open, we'll pass our flyer, hit the front porch and walk away, and the resident didn't even know we're there. To me, that's a crime opportunity. Please, if they're not here, your neighbors, contact them and say, hey, I know it's a safe community, but please, lock your doors, lock your cars, lock your doors, your windows, okay? Even in broad daylight, okay?
Good question.
Let more of a comment. We're talking about the vehicle robberies and things. I just kind of wanted to encourage a lot of people, they have cars, but they don't put them in the garage. Either because they have too much stuff in the garage or whatever, but, clean up the garage, put your cars in there.
Yeah, I mean, some people will, some won't. I mean, I don't park my car in the garage like that. I've got my treadmill in there, I got it set up for the kids, a game room on one side. But I have a driveway where I can put all the cars, and it's on my property. So, it's all about personal preference. But if you do it, like I lock all my stuff, I don't leave my stuff open, the windows down, or anything like that. Can it happen where someone tried to get in my car? Well, sure. I mean, they tried to do it right when I was inside the house. Like I said, they tried to steal my license. So it can happen. It doesn't, technically mean it won't. So right now, real quick, we're gonna stop and let them go.
Still getting to the garage.
Force their way through your door. If you have a garage door with garage has windows, some of the older ones, you can open them up and come on inside. So I mean, if they're really motivated to get into your home or into your garage to get to your car, they will. I don't care if you have an alarm system, or have camera systems, motion lights. If they want to get into it, they're going to do it as best they can and fast, quick. So I mean, we can have all the preventative things that we want, and that's great, it's just helpful. But if they really want in your home or in your garage, they're going to get it.
Really, I don't know if you want to expand between misdemeanor versus felony. I mean, if you have your windows open, your doors open, they go in, versus when they have to break in.
If your vehicle's locked and they break in, it's going to be a felony because now you're breaking in. If it's unlocked, it's going to be more of a petty theft depending on the price or theft. So don't unlock it. I mean, if you want to ask, we can get into this afterwards, but I got to let these guys talk because they got so much they want to talk to you guys about. We always take this call all the time. So, here we go, Brian. Thanks, man.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, real quick, it's great to see a lot of people that we have here. One of the things that Deputy Adams mentioned before is the feedback from our area leaders and the feedback from the community. And so the way that we structure these meetings and get the information out to you, what we talk about is because it's what the community wants, and so we'll work with trying to incorporate those changes into future meetings. The way we do that is we have these evaluation forms that we would like you to fill out. Be brutally honest. If everybody gives us all fives, we know that we're great, but we want to make sure that it's truthful and that we want to improve the program. If it's perfect, we can't improve on perfection. So let us know what works well, what didn't work well, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want us to talk about, and what are the pluses of the program that we have today. And so those will be passed out shortly. There's also some handouts on the table over there that will cover some of the slides. And so one of the things that we're going to talk about is disaster preparedness. Who here is ready for a disaster? I know personally some of the residents in this room are because they have gone through some of the training that we'll talk about shortly in the slide as well. Everybody's been through a disaster in here in several cities the last 2 years. We've all experienced the windstorm of 2011. And so that was a perfect size storm that allowed us to test everything and still be big enough that it caused problems, but not too big that it caused major problems. And here we have some of the pictures from the windstorm. The top left is one of the trees that toppled over onto a house. And please tell me what the bottom right slide is, where that is at. So again, these are disasters that hit homes. Do we think we're going to have hurricane force winds hit Temple City? No, but can it happen? Yeah, and we know it can because it did. Earthquakes. Would you know what to do if your house looked like that? Or your neighbor's house? Get out. What if you hear someone in there screaming, yelling, help me, help me? Do you know what to do? Why? I call 911. So these are some of the things that we want you guys to think about, and the sheriff's department, the fire department to get things taken care of. This here, again, this was a disaster simulation that we had in 2010 called the Golden Guardian. This was a simulation showing the seismic waves of an earthquake that started on the San Andreas Fault at the Salton Sea on the southern segment of the fault. This is a sped up simulation of the video, but you'll see the shock waves going through. And one of the things that you want to see is the time. Northward earthquakes, some of the other earthquakes, felt like they're shaking forever. But realistically, it was maybe 5 to 10 seconds of shaking. But people you talk to, it's like, yeah, I was shaking for minutes, maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Wasn't really shaking that long. A 7.8 earthquake on San Andreas Fault. And again, this is as realistic as it can be based on information and modeling that scientists and everything use with the computers. Shows you what that shaking would be like. So it starts at the Salton Sea, and the yellow part is the area that is the most intense shaking. So it's going up, it's hit Palm Springs, 30 seconds into the earthquake starting, and it's going. And you see that it spreads out, so it's hitting a wide area. It's coming up into San Bernardino, going into, now we're getting shaking here in Temple City. And you see the yellow waves, and again, the mountain topography and everything plays a factor on how intense that shaking is. We're in a basin in the San Gabriel Valley, and so right now, we're sitting right here. This is 2 minutes into the earthquake starting, and you see it keeps going. It's going all the way up, and it's going to continue up north on the segment of the fault. We're still shaking. It's getting less intense now, but it's still going. This is 3 minutes into when the earthquake started. So this is to give you an idea of what's going to happen. This scenario is not unheard of. A 7.8 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault is something that can happen. And us in the emergency management field and Caltech scientists are not saying if, but when. When the big one hits. The San Andreas Fault usually has an earthquake on it that every 150 years. I think we're over 300 years since the last earthquake on that fault. So we're overdue. One of the things that we can do is prepare as a community, and I'm going to turn it over to Freddie, and he's going to talk about a program that we have here in the city.
Hi, my name is Alfredo Reyes. I'm with the city of Temple City. Myself and my partner here, Brian Reyes, we're both instructors in this class. What is CERT? CERT is the Community Emergency Response Team. And CERT is to mitigate the problems that we will have within the 72 hours when a disaster hits. And in CERT, the class, it's a 3-day course, and we'll be going through 9 different units. The units are disaster preparedness, disaster fire suppression and security control, emergency medical operations part 1, emergency medical operations part 2, large search and rescue operations, search team organization, disaster psychology, terrorism and search, force review and disaster simulation. These are past graduates from CERT. Like I said, you'll be learning how to suppress fire.
One thing real quick, I have a question. My show of hands. How many people have used a fire extinguisher? Okay, now let's see the reverse. How many have not? What do you think the best time to learn to use a fire extinguisher is? Not when you need it, right? You don't want to have a kitchen fire and being able to try and figure out, okay, we need to pull the pin, alright? Take off the nozzle, looking as that fire is growing, you're trying to read it. That's not the time to learn how to use it, so you want to prepare for that beforehand.
This is one part that you'll be learning in the CERT class is fire suppression. There's other courses that you'll be learning as far as removing heavy objects. And then this is a couple of pictures of our past graduates in 4 different classes. And we currently don't have a schedule for a new class, but we do have a sign-up sheet that if you want after when you're done here, you guys can sign up, leave your email address, and once we coordinate when the day for the cert class we're gonna have it, we'll be able to email you guys that information, okay?
One of the things with CERT is it's a community getting together and helping each other out. The primary emphasis of CERT, as Ray said, is first to take care of yourself and your family. Then it'd be to take care of your community or your neighborhood. One of the things that we want to emphasize is if you as a resident are not trained so much, but prepared with minimal training and a basic understanding of emergency preparedness, you're less of an issue for the city that we have to deal with. Right now, you call 911 and you get the fire department, sheriff's department within a few minutes of calling them if it's an emergency. In an emergency, you're lucky if you can get through with a phone call if the phone lines are working. And then if there's a bigger catastrophe going on throughout the city or even all of Southern California, we're going to be prioritizing what resources we're going to allow to respond to what incidents. And so what would be an emergency under normal conditions may not be a high priority for us during emergencies that we need to divert those resources elsewhere. So one of the resources that we ask for the community is if you have that CERT training, it teaches you the basic skills. Again, if you're going to take that training and just use it for yourself and your family, that is completely fine with me. I'm still appreciative of you taking the class and getting that training. But if you want to expand on that and become part of a bigger team, part of the city team, we have a program that we developed. It's a CERT call-out team. What a CERT call-out team is you have members that have graduated from the class. And again, when we started off, I said there are some members in here that have graduated. We have Lucy Martin that I know that have graduated from some of the classes. And so, again, they're involved and wanting to be part of the community and help out. Taking it a step further is upon graduating from the CERT class, we will have a call-out team developed. The call-out team is going to be more of a structured organization where we will meet quarterly and have meetings to go over some of the issues pertaining to the program, have refresher training, have new training. Some of the things that we will train on is emergency operations functions. Who here knows what an emergency operations center is? For those of you that don't, which is the majority of the people, the emergency operations center is the city's basically main areas, our command posts in the city. That's where our city manager is, that's where our council members are, that's where our department heads are, and that's where the decisions as far as what resources are going to be allocated to the city under disaster and what we're going to do. We have a staff of about 36 full-time employees. We have a resident population of 36,000. We do not have enough people to do everything. If we have a long operation, our EOC does not close. With the windstorm, our EOC was open 24 hours a day for 3 days. And so I do my best to stay up and do what I can, Frank as well, Rommel, but we're not able to work 7 days straight, 8 days straight on large disasters. So we have to have resources and staff available to help us do that. The other thing is with the windstorm, again, as an example, is traffic control. So we'll train those members how to do basic traffic control and redirection. So it's learning some of those skills that'll help you to help us. To become a CERT call-out team member, like I said, you must have graduated from a CERT class. It doesn't have to be a Temple City class. CERT is a national curriculum that is recognized by FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So if you live here in Temple City and you got training and you went to Florida, you can contact someone down in Florida and say you have a certificate, show them that. They will recognize that you have attended that training session and it is the same stuff that they're training down there. Submit a copy of your cert certificate, pass the background check. Because of the information that you'll be dealing with, and also one of the things as our partner organization with the American Red Cross is anybody that's helping us out with certain functions or with like an emergency emergency shelter does have to go through a background check and make sure that there are no criminal convictions. And again, we want to make sure that people are healthy enough to do it. For those of you that think, well, there's no role for me in CERT, CERT can be used at any level. It can be someone as young as a teenager, 12, 13, 14-year-old, if we have a team CERT training, all the way to senior citizens. I've had some of the residents of the city that are in their 80s and she was able to help us out during the windstorm. You don't have to do the physical labor, you can help us out with the administrative part. Her role in the windstorm was she sat at City Hall and helped us pass out water, flashlights, and news releases. And she was able to talk to the community and get that information out. Where if we didn't have her, it'd be one person down to try and get that done. So don't feel that if you're physically limited or if there's anything that you feel that there's limitations for, we can find a spot for you to help out with that. Again, you'll be sworn in as a disaster service worker. All of the city staff, we are registered disaster service workers. We are mandated to respond to work in the event of disaster. One of the things that we want to have is a larger pool of volunteers to help out with that. And that's what this program is about. So if anybody's interested in becoming part of the call-out team and you have attended the CERT training, you can contact me and I'll give you the application or tell you what the process is. If you have not, if it does interest you, you can attend a CERT training. Again, it doesn't have to be in Temple City. I partner with Rosemead in providing training, and one of the things that this call-out team is going to be a partner organization with the city of Rosemead. We're going to share resources. We already do. We share county fire, county sheriff, county public works. We share our city limit, and so I'm already working with the city of Rosemead to develop a lot of these programs. One of the other things too is, again, what disaster is going to strike us here in Temple City? Probably an earthquake. Southern California is prone to earthquakes. We're not going to get hurricanes or tornadoes. We may get heavy winds, and it's not going to be unheard of because it has happened. But we want to prepare for what's realistically going to happen in our area. And one of the things that we want to do is make sure we're prepared for an earthquake. There's a flyer on the back table that talks about this is actually one of our Connect magazine infographs. So it wasn't the one that came out this recently. There's a previous issue that this is in there. So if you didn't get that, we may have some copies available at City Hall, but if not, the infographic I have it printed up on the back table. One other way that we can work together and use the community to help us is through a program that the county has called SNAP. Churches, community members, you know your community, you know your neighbors, you know who's disabled, you know who's been recently widowed. You understand what the demographics of your community are. We don't know as a city, unless we have one-on-one interactions, know what house in this city has a person living in it that maybe is disabled and needs special equipment to be able to move them out of the house, or someone that's on oxygen, someone that has certain needs. If someone is deaf and we're out here giving verbal notifications, a deaf person isn't going to hear our notices to evacuate or come out of their house. And so that situation, we would need to go up and do some different type of outreach to that household to make sure that they get that. One of the ways that we can maintain and gather that information is through this database. It's a voluntary database called SNAP, and it allows, Allen County is the one that's coordinating it, but it allows me as the emergency manager, or allows the sheriff's department to access that information and know that if we have a disaster that occurs in a certain neighborhood or the entire city, where our population is, that term that they're using now is functional needs, access to functional needs. And so if you or anybody that you know within a household, your neighbors that do have special needs that they need met, that they can't actually get up and go, ask them if they have not already to go to this website and please register. Okay, emergency management doesn't just stop with one class. There's plenty of information out there. Who here has a disaster kit prepared for yourself? Not too many hands. How long do you think you guys need to have that kit for? How long?
1 month.
1 month? That's nice. We have supplies for 1 month. That'd be real nice. The minimum that they tell you to have is 3 days. You want to have 3 days of supplies for each person in your household. That is the bare minimum. But what they would actually, what I would tell you is, realistically, we would like you to have 7 to 10 days supply. And for example, water. You have water bottles here. Drinking throughout the day, you don't realize how much water you're drinking. But when you're preparing for disaster, you want to have 1 gallon per person per day. And so that's a lot of water. So if you have a family of 5 and you have those big Arrowhead water bottles, that 1 bottle is going to only last you 1 day. And that's not including what you can use for showering, bathing. You don't have running water to flush the toilet, so you've got to figure out some other ways to do that as well. Up here on the screen are some websites that have information that you can prepare, whether it's a disaster kit, some more information on how to secure your house in the event of an earthquake, earthquake strapping, earthquake putty that you can keep your bases and picture frames down. So these are good sources of information. And so, again, I can't stress enough, I do want our community to be prepared. We have graduated 4 classes since 2009 on a cert class, and as Freddie said, myself, Freddie, and one of our other officers is a certified trainer for cert, so we're hoping to hold 4 classes throughout the year. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rahul. Rahul is one of our community preservation officers, and he's going to go into a little bit more about one of our other programs.
Good evening, my name is Ron Garza. I'm a community preservation officer in the city of Temple City. And today I'd like to speak to you about SEPTED. SEPTED is crime through environmental design. Basically, I'm with the Community Preservation Division, and this is just an example of some of the substandard housing that we deal with. And these are some of our cases that we've dealt with in the past. Okay, SEPTED. What is SEPTED? SEPTED is crime prevention through environmental design. SEPTED is an approach to deter criminal behavior through environmental design. Effective use and design of a property can lead to a reduction in the fear and incidence of crime, and an improvement in the quality of life. Okay, basically, well, here's one of the SEPTED developments. If you look at this diagram, if you look at the large windows, the reason why you would want large windows is the most casual provision of the sidewalk. So basically, at any given moment, you can just look outside and you can see what's going on in your front yard. You're not having to be so obvious. That's really a plus, you can always see what's going on in your front yard and you're aware of who's there and what they're doing. If you look at the design of the porches and the sidewalks, it encourages interaction between neighbors. So basically, you're encouraging them to be out there and engaging, socializing. If you look at the pedestrian skilled lighting on the street, that helps with safety and vision. That way, if you're walking on the sidewalk, you feel safer, you can see what you're doing, and if you're a resident of that property, you can also see who's out there in your property, and you're aware of what's going on. And there's a little bit of a feeling of safety with that. If you look at the paving and the architectural treatments, basically, they define public and private zones, so basically, you're telling people that are passing by that aren't residents of that building, you have a certain expectation of privacy, which is this is my yard, that's the sidewalk, please don't enter without permission, respect my boundaries. If you look at the little landscaping and fencing, they define property lines. Again, you're having an expectation of privacy and you're telling people, I have hedges there, I have a fence there, this is my yard, I expect privacy, please respect it, and also it kind of prevents, animals or dogs from defecating your lawn and people loitering, which is a good thing. Natural surveillance is the capacity to see what is occurring outside of your home without having to take special measures. One of them is well-maintained property, hedges, bushes, and vegetation that do not block windows or entrances. Second is adequate lighting. And the third is warning signs and alarm system signs. This is an example of a well-maintained property. The hedges are trimmed. They're not blocking the windows, so if you're inside the house, you can see outside your window, you can see the whole yard. You have good, peripheral vision of what's going on. It's very important that you keep your hedges and your vegetation trimmed below the window, because you don't want to give someone a place to hide. If someone can hide behind the hedges, behind the bushes, under the window, they can very easily break into your property, and you don't want that. This is another example. This is a tree obstruction natural visibility. If you look at this above photo, you can tell you can't even see the window. It's hidden by the tree, and basically that's a negative because you can't see out the window. You don't know if anybody's hiding there. You can't see what's going on in your yard. You can't really see anything, so you can't really survey your property at all. You can't, monitor anything. You can't see. Not only that, but somebody can hide. They can hide behind the shrub. They can hide in the tree, behind the tree. They can lay down in the vegetation, and they're pretty much camouflaged. Okay, this photo is a good example of overgrown vegetation, and this is blocking the natural visibility. If you look at this photo, you can see it looks like it needs to be maintained. The shrubs are overgrown. They're quite tall. Somebody could be living back there, you wouldn't even know it. You can't see out your window, so basically there's no sense of safety. You don't know what's going on. And this is an example of a cleanup property. It's an after photo. See the grass is all green. They mowed it. They're still watering it. They trimmed the hedges. Stop blocking the windows. Looks a lot better. These are examples of the warning signs you can close near your property to ward off, loiterers or people that have bad intentions in mind. Maybe want to try to rob your property or something like that nature. If you look at the above right photo, they have it's a surveillance camera. They got signs and they have lighting to light up the property at night so they can see. Here's a surveillance camera. Here's automatic lighting for the outside of the property. This is an example of what you don't want. It's very dark. You can't see. Anybody can approach your property. You won't even know they're there. You can't see who's coming. You can't see who's going. This is the opposite. This is an example of a well-lit property. This is what you should have. It's well-lit. You can see the front yard. You can see who's approaching your front door. You can see who's in the yard. And it's a good deterrent. Territory enforcement. Design elements such as decorative fencing and landscaping elements that help to distinguish the difference between public and private areas. We discussed this earlier. Basically what you're doing is you're creating boundaries and you're defining what's my property and what's the public right of way. This fencing defines property lines without creating hiding places. So basically this property owner is telling people, this is my yard. This fence is defining where my yard starts and where the sidewalk ends. So stay on the sidewalk and please don't enter my yard unless you have to or you're allowed to. Maintenance. Maintaining your property ultimately makes it a safer place. Negative effects of neglected and unmaintained properties. It increases criminal activity and crime rate. Long-term residents have a tendency to move out of the city. It decreases the property values and devaluates your home. It has an impact on investment. Rent sales purchases are affected. New residents are afraid to move to the city, and it increases property vacancy rate. Here's an example of a unmaintained property. Here's a before picture before it was cleaned up. Here's the after photo. If you look at this photo, the hedges were removed. They're watering the lawn. It looks like it should look. It's well maintained. Here's an example of this is an abandoned house that's substandard condition. It's dilapidated. It's a before picture. Here's an after picture. Now it looks like an normal home, like someone actually lives there. This is an example of an unmaintained front yard. You're supposed to have landscaping. This is all dirt and weeds. Here's the after photo. You can tell they planted new grass. It looks pretty nice. Looks like it should look. The house stands out more. The whole property looks normal at this point. This is here's an example of this area in the back of this property. It's unpaved. Basically, vehicles are supposed to be on an approved paved surface like cement. There's a trash bin in the back there. Those vehicles look like they're inoperable. They don't look adequate. It's just a bad looking property. That's the before photo. Here's an after photo. They paved the driveway. They moved the trash bin, and overall, it looks like a different property. It looks normal. The running crime in our community involves everyone, the sheriff's department, city staff, and officials, and you. It's important that Temple City residents, we all work together to reduce crime and improve the overall quality of life. It increases safety, the quality of life, school districts, and it keeps our city clean, and it raises property values. This is a median home prices in our area. This is home value comparison. The median sale price for the last 5 years in Arcadia is $800,000. Temple City was $542,000. San Gabriel was $503,000. Alhambra was $406,000. Rosemead was $389,000. El Monte was $308,000.
Oh, hey, just so you know, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We told you we we're going to get you out by 7:30. We're running a few minutes late. We want to give the city a chance to finish up. But in the meantime, just so everybody knows, if you filled out an evaluation, they're going to give you a raffle ticket. We're going to do a couple raffle things, and then for those that need to go, you can leave, and then we'll be here for you afterward. We're good, but we just want those that need to go to know that they can if they need to go. Okay? Go ahead, brother. Sorry.
So we're going to wrap it up right here. This is a good slide to wrap on. If you guys want to contact community preservation, if you have questions about what's a violation, what's not, if you want to report it, we don't say that Johnny down the street said that you have a property that looks like a jungle, and he asked us to come take care of it. We don't do that. You let us know what the problem is, report it to us. We ask for that contact information so that we can follow up on any questions that we may have and to let you know the status of the case. So there are a few ways that you can get in contact with us. One is through our code enforcement hotline. The number is up there on the bottom of the page. The other one is through our code enforcement email address. Those are checked quite often, so we will get back to you on the cases. And also, you can come in and speak to us at City Hall during regular business hours, Monday through Friday from 7:30 till 6. So if anybody has any questions on code enforcement, our guys will be here to answer questions. Rick and he will be here for any law enforcement questions. Myself and Freddie will be available if anybody has any staff preparedness questions. And so, like Rick said, we want to get you guys an opportunity to get out of here on time. And our guys are going around handing out raffle tickets and collecting the eval. So we will be raffling off 2 $20 gift certificates to Guppy House and 2 $5 gift certificates to In-N-Out.
In Guppy House, for those that haven't been, they're very supportive of the city and our station, and the food is delicious. And it's in the shopping center, Rosemead and Las Tunas. So take advantage of it if you get it and go. And if you don't get it, go anyway. It's a great restaurant.
Ladies and gentlemen, one last statement. I'm here representing you, and Lucy is here representing you. Citizen involvement in this program. You've heard all of the wonderful things the Sheriff's Department is doing, the money and staff that the city is doing. It doesn't work without Neighborhood Watch members and volunteers. What can you do? You've heard what all of these people are saying. What it takes is you to actually take them up on it. If you see abandoned shopping carts, call it in. You see graffiti, in spite of the fact that there's a truck going around looking, a lot of the graffiti is cleaned up because you call it in. Potholes, disasters on sidewalks and stuff. The city will fix it, but the city has to know about it. You're their eyes and ears. If you want to be Neighborhood Watch leaders for Area 11, contact either Lucy or Rick or myself and let us know. Because as Rick said earlier, we meet every month and we come up with ideas to make the system better. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, now while we're doing the tickets and everything, yeah, great job by Ron and the city. Thank you. Okay, so since we've got a few minutes before they do the raffle, anybody have questions or comments they want to make either to the sheriff department or the city? If not, that's fine. But yeah.
I just think for disaster and emergency, some of our streets don't have, and they don't have sidewalks in my streets, but the first don't have the numbers.
Right.
They're not legible.
Right.
Things that about that.
Yes.
Right.
I think in next year's budget, meaning next year beginning July 1, I think the city council approved an allocation of funds to have a whole amount in painting citywide. So, I think it's still in there, so don't hold me to it if it's not. But that's something that definitely, like I said, is a public safety, not only disaster preparedness. When the sheriff's department, fire department is running the lights and sirens, the last thing they want to do is try and look at a house and find that address. Be curbside, part of it is a faster way to do that. So
as a follow-up on that, going around my neighborhood, dividing to one party, I noticed a lot of people don't have the numbers on curbs or on their house. And they don't have doorbells, so it's like,
curbs not required, building code requires it to be on the house. So if you see a house that does not have any address numbers on it at all, our code enforcement division or community preservation can follow up on that and give them a notice and say that they need to put it up.
She asked my question too.
Road is like,
Yeah, this is one of those worst days with like
The question was, what about streetlights? I'm sure a lot of people in here would like streetlights on the street. One of the things that the city has is a lighting and landscaping district. And so the areas that have streetlights on the street, they pay a special tax assessment as part of that. The city currently is supplementing that tax assessment because there's not enough being taxed and levied for the streetlight maintenance and installation. And so right now, that account is in the red and is being subsidized by general funds of the city. We're looking at a lot of changes in the city. You've seen a lot of the changes that have come up already. And it takes time and it takes money to get some of this going. We're not just going to put one street light here. It is expensive to put a street light, especially on streets that do not have any of the infrastructure to sustain it. There may be utilities running from another wall, install a transformer, and put the poles in. So we're working on what we call a 5-year capital improvement plan. Streetlights may be part of that plan to say, in the next 5 years, these are the major infrastructure projects that we want to work on. And I'm sure slowly things will get going that way. One of the things that the city is also deficient in is sidewalks. There's a lot of sidewalks that aren't existing, and there's some sidewalks that are in decent shape, but the city is working on vetting whatever grant funds available. Rosemead Boulevard is a perfect example. We have an $18 million project, but if you've ever walked on Rosemead Boulevard before the construction, there were no sidewalks. There were some areas that were just dirt ruts and everything. That whole project from southern limit to northern limit, the entire 2-mile lane, will have sidewalks all the way as well as bike lanes. And that is using a majority of the funds. Yes, Jerry?
This question is for the deputies, but I've heard that there's some ingenious crooks that have electronic devices that can open up your electronic doors on your car without even breaking in. Is that true, or is it a myth?
I don't think it's a myth. I've seen something in that aspect. I don't have a ton of knowledge on it, but I have heard that there is some kind of like magic little key, depending on what kind of cars have, the buttons on it. It's all electronic and has a key turn. But I don't have anything concrete on it to say how much that's actually going on.
On the same note though, Jerry, you see on TV too, hotel rooms where they have the thing, I don't know if it's magnetic or what, where they're able to get in the rooms. They have devices like that, but we don't see them very often. As a matter of fact, in all our years of experience, we've never come across that ourselves. So that's not something you're going to see on the norm, but it just goes to show you how you have to be careful, like we talked about earlier. Don't leave stuff in your car in the first place, and it really will be a non-issue for you. But look, there's always ways to try to get around things, and we just have to do our best to protect ourselves. And as far as lighting, some of the things you can do in the meantime is maybe you put a street, or not a street, but the light post in your front yard. Maybe it's maybe an expense you don't want to incur necessarily, but it's a cheap expense. And you can have. I think if more people do that, maybe brighter lighting on your front porch at night, at least till 10 o'clock. Leave your porch lights on. Look, I know money's tight, and that may not be an option. I'm just giving you a possible option if that's something you want to do. If you've got a dark street, it could help in the meantime because you may never get street lights, or if you do, it may be a while. So, so it's your choice, obviously, but it's just an option.
I live up here on Halifax. I think I'm like the only house that always had the porch lights on.
Hey.
Because if I turn it off, it's like completely dark.
I gotta figure it out. I just solved it. All right, you know those big lights they use for parties and events? Seriously, you get everyone to ship in, and you start at one end of the street, and you shine on the rest, and you're good to go. I mean, you might have a street bill, but, okay, so, no, but, you're wrong, go.
Another good idea is, get a motion sensor.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Lights on, that way you're not having to have a light for students.
Yeah, the reality is, we're not gonna always have all the solutions about all our problems, but we have ideas, and maybe it's not, like I said earlier, it's not the ideal, solution for our problem, but it will help. So, Jerry, you're gonna say something else too, I think.
I just have a question for Mr. Arizumi. There's 120 cert people that are certified. 125. If the phone lines were down, I should know this, but I don't. Is there a central place where everybody goes if there's a major disaster?
Well, that's part of the CERT call team. The 125 CERT members that are trained, there are some community members, some live in Temple City, some work in Temple City, some do Boy Scouts in Temple City, so they're not all necessarily living in the city. Some of them took the training just again for their family and friends. That CERT call-out team is going to set policies and procedures and protocols on what the response protocols are going to be in a disaster. And so there'll be call-out procedures on when you activate and when you respond, where to respond to. One of the things that we don't want people to just kind of say, oh, you know what, here's a good way, throw on your backpack, go down the street, say, I went to Temple City and start doing things. You don't want to self-activate, and that's something that we want to discourage. But you're more than welcome to go check your neighborhood and as a resident and make sure everybody's fine. But there will be protocols, policies, and procedures on when and where and how to respond.
Thank you.
Okay, so before, we'll answer your question, but I know we have the raffle, and I just want everybody to know that our captain showed up. He had some other events, but he is here. Like I told you, he's usually here for us. He's in the back there. He's going to wave at you. Captain Christine, just so you know.
I just want to say thank you very, very much. I'll keep it nice and short and sweet. It shows the commitment you have to the city and neighborhood. I want to applaud you. I should be clapping to you tonight. So, put it down. Karen, Jerry, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, did everybody get a raffle ticket?
No.
No?
Did you fill out an evaluation?
No.
Just be honest, I like that. Well, we'll give you a ticket, and then no, you want to.
While you're doing that, we have a few carrots left. If you want to bring some for neighbors who couldn't make it tonight, please come see me. We'd like to pass all of this out, to get as many people aware as we can.
Okay, listen, after we're done, we're still here for questions if you have them. If not, it's nice and cool outside, so it'll be better.
We can talk outside as well.
All right, right here.